Hi guys! So I wanted to show you my current planner graveyard. That is the sad collection of dated 2018 planners which I bought and started using for one purpose or another and then have abandoned over the course of the last few months. I'm keeping these planners because one, it's possible that I will realize that I need to start a new planner for something and then I can just grab one off the shelf. Secondly, because it's possible that a friend might need a planner and then I can give them one of these to try out. And it's also possible that I will decide to use one later for something that is not time sensitive and doesn't need dates. So let's go through them one by one and I'll tell you what the story is and why I stopped using it. So we'll start with my 2018 weekly Kekeke planner. Now, this is probably an example of the sort of thing that a reckless planner addict should not do, which is buy a planner because it looks pretty without a clear reason of what you're going to use it for. So that was what I did at the beginning of the year. It was January, it was around my birthday, I had a Kekeke birthday voucher and this happened. So this is a really nice planner. As you can see, it's a hardbound gold planner with an elastic band. I added the pen loop, it didn't come with it. It has these polka dots, and then it has this really interesting weekly layout, and this is why I bought it, because I'd never had a planner with this kind of layout and I was intrigued by it. So it's a vertical layout, but it has these boxes, which I think is a really underutilized weekly layout design, and I wanted to try it out. So I decided to use it as a kind of self-care planner to plan out nice things for myself to do every day. So I was just using it in this kind of casual way. I guess I was using it every day for a few weeks, but you see how it's divided into AM and PM? So I would write down one nice thing to do the next day in the morning and then one nice thing to do in the evening. And usually I wouldn't go back to check it, which I think was probably its downfall. But I would try to put in something for myself to look forward to every day so that I could really focus on the nice things that were happening over the course of the week, you know, and I would try to make them manageable things that I would be doing anyway, not like big challenging things that I probably wouldn't accomplish, but things like going for an oat or a coconut latte, going to the Chinese restaurant, etc. So why did I stop using this planner? There was really no reason why. It wasn't like it wasn't working or I didn't like it. I think it was a nice idea. Basically, I just couldn't keep up with it. I felt like my planner system was too overwhelming and I wasn't keeping up with all the planners. And something like this, where you have to write in a nice thing for yourself to do, is not really challenging. But then when I had it in combination with my work planner, my personal planner, my home planner, and my 5-year Tetra where I was recording highlights of the day and gratitude, it started to feel like too much. And when things were busy at work, I just stopped using everything except the essential planners, and that's what I ended up stripping my system down to, just the core essentials. So this fell by the wayside. And now looking at it, I'm kind of regretting that, because I think this was actually quite a nice idea. And it's something that I don't actually remember to do in my personal planner. So I'm thinking maybe I should try incorporating this concept into my personal planner and seeing if I can fit it in there. And if not, maybe bringing this back, because it is really nice having a planner where you just write down things to, you know, to make sure that you not only do tasks and jobs, which can sometimes feel onerous, but also nice things that make you feel happy. So that's the story with this planner, and it is really a beautiful planner and I like it, so I think it's quite possible that I will bring it back into my lineup again at some point during the year. Next up is the Action Day planner, which I did a review of. I've done a review of all of these planners, so if you look through my channel you'll be able to see them if you want to hear about the layouts in more detail. But this planner, in my defense, was given to me as a birthday present, which was really, really nice, and I liked it and I was happy to get to do a review of it because I'd been curious about it and it was interesting to get to see what it looked like, and again it has a really interesting layout. So the problem with this planner was that I was never intending to use it and I just couldn't think of a use for it. So it is completely empty. I haven't used it so far. Now, I learned an interesting thing a couple of months ago, which is that I did a pen test in it, but that's the only writing in this planner. So I discovered something which many of my fellow planner addicts may already know, which is that every 7 years, I think, the same dates have the same weekdays. So basically, if you leave a planner for 7 years, you can then use it again and all the dates and days will be correct, if that makes any sense. So this would be something like 2024, I think. This planner will again be totally valid with all of the correct days, which I thought was really cool, because that is a sort of redemption for planner addicts. If you buy too many planners, you can just keep them on your shelf for 7 years and then you can use them again. So this is always a possibility if I leave this completely blank, that I can use it again in a later year. Obviously, I could also use it for something else and just ignore the dates. But this planner, because it's got an hourly schedule and it has a lot of features that really make it ideal for something that you use for specific timed planning, then I think that that might be the best option. So I'm not really sure what I'm going to do with this yet. It could be that I'll give it away over the course of the year, or that I'll find a use for it, but for now I'm just keeping it because it looks, you know, it looks really nice. I like it, and it may come in handy at some point. So that's the Action Day planner. Next up, we have the Hebrew English Desk Diary, which is a rather obscure planner. It's a London-based Jewish planner, and I like it because it has all of the Jewish holidays and it's designed to fit in with the Jewish year. So, for example, it runs from Sunday to Saturday because Saturday is the Jewish Sabbath, and it's got all of the Hebrew names of the dates and the months, and it's useful for knowing, you know, like when holidays are and that kind of thing. So this planner was being used as, this was a partner planner. So I would put in everything that I wanted James to do, because I'm always giving him jobs, and that makes me sound really bossy, but you're planner addicts too, you understand, right? So I would just put in things that I wanted him to do, and that seemed to work better than reminding him. And at some point I stopped using this because we also have a home planner. And I started just using the home planner for that, because the home planner is also the one planner that I really decorate a lot. And I felt like I wasn't using it to its full potential. I would decorate it and I would put in my work schedule and basically leave it at that, unless there was some, you know, special thing like we were going to the cinema or something. And then I decided that really it made more sense just to consolidate and have fewer planners. This is something I did a few months ago. I think that this was around February, where I decided to streamline my planner system, and this is one of the planners that went in that streamlining process. And so it actually works really well and makes a lot more sense for me just to put all of the to-dos in that planner, since that's open on the table anyway. But this is a case where I'm really sad that this planner has fallen by the wayside, because I like it and I would like to be able to find a use for it, which is why I was using it in the first place. So it's a matter of the constant tension between wanting to use all the planners and not being able to cope with a system where you've got 10 different planners in use all at the same time and wanting to consolidate. So I think that this is part of the ongoing planner addict dilemma, which might never be solved, and at the moment I am opting for a more streamlined system where I only have a few planners rather than a giant stack of planners. But it does make me sad and nostalgic taking these out and looking through them, because I loved them and that was why I had them in the first place, and now I, you know, kind of wish that I had a use for them. So that is that planner. It also had this really cute Lyra Dory cover, which I love as well. Okay, on to the next one. This is another great planner which I bought slightly recklessly just because I wanted to review it, and I don't think that there's anything wrong with that, because often with these planners my reasoning is I buy them because I want to do a review of them, especially planners that aren't so well known, aren't maybe so popular. I, you know, kind of want to spread the word about them a bit, and then, you know, maybe I'll give them away. So that was my original plan with this one, but it was just so adorable that I didn't want to give it up, and so I found a use for it instead. And the use was to use it as a vision book. So this is something that I've been doing for probably about 7 or 8 years. I've been keeping a gratitude journal, well, not really a journal, just a list really, where I list all of the things that I'm grateful for, like maybe 5 or 6 in the day. And if you saw my video about my 5-year Hobonichi Techo, that's how I've been using that. So I used to keep my gratitude list and my vision book in the same planner, but since I switched over to the 5-year Techo, I moved the vision book out of that and it hasn't really had a home. So at the same time, I thought I'll use this for the vision book. And so you can see that I was doing this for quite a few weeks, and I was decorating it as well, which I thought would help me to help motivate me to keep at it. And then around the same time, you can see this was around the beginning of February, where I just completely lost the ability to keep track of all these different planners, even though they were all being used for things that I wanted to do and were helpful in some way. And I just stopped. And so everything that could go into my main couple of planners did, and everything else just fell by the wayside. And this is one of the things that I actually haven't been doing consistently since I stopped using this planner, which is a shame, because I feel like it helps to focus on positive things that you want to happen, and it kind of psychologically makes you feel like they are going to happen if you've written them down. So I would like to get back into this, and I think, as with the Nice Things planner, I think probably the best way of doing it would be to put it into my Hobonichi Weeks, because that's my personal planner, and so I'm already using that for a lot of things anyway. So if I can find a space where I can put it in that, then I know that I've got a dedicated place where I can put the vision in, and if I forget for a day, it doesn't matter so much because I'm still using that planner. But again, it makes me sad to see this going unused because it is a great planner. So that is the Seagull Jolie planner, a week on 2 pages. Then we have the planner. This is another sad tale. They're all sad tales. This is a Moleskin monthly planner. So it's got month on 2 pages followed by a line spread, and then it's got note pages in the back. And I started this, I think, in November in anticipation of January coming, and I wanted to use this as my social media planner. So for my YouTube channel and Instagram, and the plan was, that I would use the note pages in the back, would put stickers on them, and I would use them for lists of things like, these are my pens, video ideas, wish lists, etc. And then I would use the month on 2 pages as a video planner. So, so I would schedule all of my videos for the month. And then I would use the spread in between the month on 2 pages for a list of things that were happening in that month. So for example, videos that I wanted to make in that month, maybe notes for the videos, planner supplies I wanted to buy in the month, and my planner lineups. So this had the same sad fate as the other planners that I've been showing you. January went really well, and then in February I just stopped using it along with all the others, and I thought, if I'm going to use this idea, I'll just consolidate it and put it in my Hobonichi Weeks, which is my personal planner. So basically I moved away from the idea of having a separate dedicated planner for each aspect of my life, and rather instead putting everything into as few planners as possible. And to some extent that has worked well, because that's a system that I'm still using and I'm quite happy with it. But on the other hand, I have had long periods when I haven't made videos, and I've felt like that's because I've been so busy with work and then the strike and then going away to visit my mum. But I also wonder if not having a dedicated planner has made that thing become less of a priority. So I also haven't been taking Instagram photos, and I'm not sure if it's because I haven't had the dedicated planner to kind of help encourage me. So the whole thing is very interesting. I think how it works with planners and planner addicts and having multiple planners. In some ways, you might have too many planners and just feel like you can't enjoy any of them because it's too many to focus on, which is how I felt. But in other ways, I think having a dedicated planner for a specific aspect of your life can be really helpful, because my personal planner incorporates all aspects of my life other than work. So it incorporates the videos and Instagram, but often because it's quite small, there isn't a huge amount of room in the weeks to dedicate to those things, and they end up not being prioritized. So that's just my current thought on the matter. I'm not going to go back to this at the moment, I don't think, because I quite like having the minimalist system, but I did really enjoy it, and I put a lot of work into it, and I really liked how it looked, and so it's possible that this will come back at some point. Then we have the small Erin Condren hardbound planner. So this is actually an 18-month planner, and I bought it when it first came out, so I started using it in July 2017, and I was using it as an expenses tracker. And I'd had an expenses tracker before, and I just decided to switch it from an Erin Condren, from a Happy Planner to the Erin Condren when it came out. So I used this for about 6 months, and then in January I just stopped tracking expenses. So this is a case where I felt like the actual task was too much and I just couldn't keep up with it. So you can see, so at the beginning here I was tracking really diligently, and then I would add up my totals at the end of the week, and then I stopped adding up the totals at the end of the week, and then at some point it just felt like a chore writing down all of my expenses, and this is something that I've just stopped doing. And so now I just track my bank balance every few days and I write that down in my weeks, and that seems to be enough. So it's possible that I'll realize at some point that I actually think that it would be helpful going back to tracking expenses, and then I'll go back into this because I haven't used it for anything else. But as it stands at the moment, I just feel like that is one task too many and I can't keep up with it. And then finally, last but not least, we have my Moleskin daily planner. So this is another planner that I bought just because I've had one of these every year for the past few years, and I kind of missed the idea of not having one. And I wasn't sure what I was going to do with it, and I thought I'll find a use for it. And indeed, I started using it at the beginning of the year as a daily planner. So I would just write down the list of every single thing that I wanted to get done in the day. And I used that for a few days, and I really liked having it because it was nice just having a blank page with the date that was unprioritized, and I could just put down everything in order of how I want it, when I wanted to do it. And then I just stopped using it. So I think the last time I used it was Friday the 19th of January, and since then I haven't used it at all. And that's because, oddly, I have just stopped using a daily planner, and I'm not quite sure why, because I've used a daily planner for the last couple of years and I've really enjoyed it. I usually use it on days when I'm at home and working, and so I have a lot of different things going on, like work stuff and then, flat maintenance and walking the dogs and all kinds of different things, and I just like to be able to make a list. It doesn't need to be a dated planner. So I could just use a notebook, and what I decided to do when I streamlined my system was to use my personal planner and just use a note insert, that one of the weeks shaped memo notebooks that you can get alongside the weeks, and just use that when I needed to make a chronological list. And I haven't done that very often. I have done it on a couple of occasions, and that seems to be working all right. So again, I'm not sure what I'll do with this. I think that because a daily planner doesn't need to be dated, as I said, I can just keep this and use it whenever I want to as a daily planner, even after 2018 is over. Just, use it like a notebook. So that is the final planner in my planner graveyard. So you can see these are all really great planners. I love them all. I enjoyed using them all, with the exception of this one, which I've never used, and I miss them all. And yet I don't feel like I want to go back to them at this point because I really like my streamlined system as it is. I'll do an updated lineup going into May, so you can see exactly what I'm using now. But basically, if you can imagine that at the beginning of the year I was using all of these planners, except for this one, in addition to the few that I'm now using, it was quite a complex system. So I like them and I miss them, but for now I'm just happy being able to see them on my shelves and think that at some point in future I'll come back to them, whether it's in 2018 or not. So I hope you enjoyed this, especially if you can relate and you also have a planner graveyard. It's always nice to know that you're not the only one with a planner graveyard, I think. So if any of you are in the same boat, then I'm happy to know I'm not alone. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again soon. Bye!